Councillor Perks.
Thank you. I have questions for the City Manager. Mr. City Manager, the cost estimates that we have before us in the current documents, do they include the cost of financing?
Can I ask, Peter, can you please put up slide 17 from the presentation? My apologies.
Okay.
I have put your time on hold.
Thank you, Speaker. I appreciate it.
I think the question has already been answered, and I just want to make sure that we can show.
There have been a lot of documents. I apologize if I missed something.
Okay.
So page 17, the Chief Planner spoke to this, and it does show, working from the bottom, it shows a number of important elements that the design of the class, but the class level, but it also indicates that this is a cost to construct only. It does not include finance.
Finance, okay. So just typically, I'll get to the other elements in a moment. Just typically, to finance $3 billion in capital, we'd expect over the course of that to pay back some percentage in interest. 10%, 20%, 30%?
It obviously depends on the interest rates of the
I understand,
today, but it adds
ballpark
costs.
it. Yeah, ballpark it. Just an order of magnitude estimate.
Construction financing costs would be generally lower than takeout financing costs and over a much shorter period of time.
I understand, but am I looking at 1%, 10%, 100%?
No, you're probably looking, I don't know, 2 to 4%.
Pardon me?
Yeah, 2 to 4%.
2 to 4%?
Construction financing costs per year.
Per year, but overall, like how much would it escalate to $3 billion, 3.2?
So on a per billion basis,
yes,
you're looking at, say, tops 20 to 40 million a year times 5 years cost to construct. You could be looking at $200 million construction financing.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Manager, the province of Ontario and increasingly here at the City of Toronto, we try to price in the risk. Has the risk of cost overruns and so on. We try to price that in ahead of time. I know Infrastructure Ontario does it. Has that been done with this project?
So the most recent experience with a major construction project on a subway has been TYSSE. TYSSE, like this, was priced at a cost to construct. It may be Council's direction, as it considers this, to look at alternate finance, P3, or other mechanisms. The numbers that are in front of you right now, as it indicates, assume a traditional procurement process a la TYSSE. They do not build in any incremental element for P3 or an Infrastructure Ontario or other approach.
Yeah, and I understand that after the other subway extension, the TTC was directed by this council to look at ways of pricing and risk. Pricing and risk adds about ballpark, is it 5%, 10%, 100%?
I'm not in a position to give you a ballpark
you can give me a ballpark.
If we could give you a ballpark, we would have given you. That's why we indicate very clearly in slide 17 that those are not yet included.
Is it ones of millions, tens of millions, or hundreds of millions?
We don't know.
Really, typically. So maybe I can ask this a different way. Infrastructure Ontario currently does an awful lot of these P3s. The federal government requires a P3 screening that looks at pricing and risk. In projects you're aware of, has the pricing in of risk been in the 10% range, 20% range, or 50% range?
Risk exists under both processes. Risk exists in terms of potential cost overruns, and risk exists in terms of sharing the risk with the private sector. Typically, pricing in the risk adds costs materially. What you are exchanging is basically whether we build the risk in front or whether or not we run the risk later.
I understand all of that. The question I asked precisely, though, was looking at recent efforts by IO and the federal government P3 screening to price in the risk. What is the approximate range of pricing that risk in being in other recent projects?
The argument is, of course, the risk is the incremental cost is none. It's only a question of at what point you begin to price that in, during the construction phase or pre-construction, and share it with the private sector.
Would I be foolish if I estimated a guess at around 10%?
So certainly, when you begin to share in a detailed way with the private sector the incremental risk and ask them to build that in, that raises the cost. And we do not, and frankly, I do not have...
Have life cycle costs been priced in here?
Life cycle costs have not been increased, as slide 17 indicates. It's not been priced in, as slide 17 shows.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.